Hey guys, just as a pre-roll before this episode starts, I want to thank everyone for being super supportive and interested even to listening to the podcast. This is going to be up on my normal channel, Nerd Network. If you guys are interested in checking out what we're about, you can follow us at Nerd Network on Instagram with replace the E's with threes, or you can go to our website, nerdnetwork.com, which also replace the E's for threes. Thanks, guys, again. If you're interested in this, definitely make sure you guys hit me up, and we'll get something worked out. Thanks, guys.
Is She-Hulk really, in fact, an orc from Middle-earth? Are the X-Men a bunch of aliens here to take over the world? Welcome to the first episode of Fake News, the show where we sift through what's real and what's fake in the world. I'm your host, J. Jonah Jameson. Today, my special guest is Scott Gucci Shade Summers and Jen Super Smash Walters. Scott is best known as Cyclops, the leader of the X-Men. Jen Walters, assistant district attorney or lawyer, also known as Incredible She-Hulk. How are you guys doing today?
Doing all right.
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you, JJ.
Great. Well, I know you two are pressed for time, so let's jump right in there. Scott, this question's for you. What's it like being the leader of a team that's full of mostly teenagers with unstable abilities?
It's a never-ending job. Tiresome, but rewarding when everyone comes together. If we're all not united and not together, then it's even more tiresome and less rewarding. But that's my family.
I see.
Are you still guys giving out that free Costco card?
Still doing that.
Don't you have to be an X-Men to be getting Costco cards? Can't you afford one, Jen?
Of course I can afford one, but it's better when it's free.
Cheapskate.
Excuse me?
Well, Scott, with so many new admissions every day, and every time I look on Twitter, the school of gifted youngsters is either being invaded or blown up, do you ever find it difficult to keep track of who's who?
That's why we don't have a school anymore. Actually have an island. Well, it may or may not be affiliated with the occult, but that's neither here nor there. School is not the best place. It's usually a target of where people can, as you said, blow us up. So we decided to move elsewhere.
I see. So what you're saying is that the X-Men are actually a bunch of wizards and a cult, and then we need to keep our humans away from there. Otherwise, you'll sacrifice us.
I mean, depending, give or take. I'm not saying yes or no.
Suspect. Well, with that being said, since you dabble in, I guess, mutant occult, how do you manage to stay sane and all? You're surrounded by telepaths, telekinetics, fire starters, weather wizards, and what, Walt Disney characters?
I don't.
Oh, well, let's move forward to the questions that the people are asked. Let's see here. Is it true that Jean Grey dies every 3 days?
Let me check my Google Calendar here. Every week.
Every week. Let's see here. Someone else asked, do you wear those shades when you have sex?
I mean, if I didn't, why she dies every 3 weeks?
Have they ever come off?
Every week.
She does.
Okay, well, thanks, Scott. It's been enjoy having you on. I hope the X-Men die. Moving over to Jen. You're a lawyer, a superwoman, a She-Hulk. What's it like balancing your time as a lawyer and as a superhero?
I mean, it's pretty easy, you know? You just do your regular 9 to 5. You know, I'm already transformed. So I just simply go about and do Avenger stuff whenever they need me. But as of lately, I've just been dealing with lawyer stuff because I get more joy out of that.
Do you ever go into the courtroom green?
Of course, all the time. I mean,
That doesn't put anyone off?
people love it. Actually, no, it puts them on.
Ew.
Excuse me?
Have you ever gone against someone that you know is guilty from being a superhero?
I've gone against people who I think are guilty, and yet people think they're innocent. Looking at you, Tony Stark.
Well, with that said, have you ever taken the law into your own hands after you've seen the justice system fail?
I plead the fifth.
Okay, Jen. Well, let's move on to the questions that the listeners have asked. Let's see here. First question is, well, I guess it's a statement. It says here, I heard you're in love with the Coco. Does that mean anything to you?
That actually does not mean anything to me. Can you please explain that to me?
I don't know. You submitted it. Because the same user submitted the next question. Why do you have 60 noise complaints from your apartment in the last 30 days?
I'm pretty sure you're missing some. And it's just my apartment, or is it somebody else's apartment too?
I haven't investigated, but now you have me curious.
That's bad journalism right there.
Are you telling me how to do my job? I don't come into your courtroom.
Well, no.
Exactly. So then this might have something to do with the last question. I don't even know how to say this, but it says, does he push in and pull out, and so you jump and salute him?
I plead the fifth.
For a lawyer, you seem to not answer quite a bit of questions.
I usually like asking the questions. Like, JJ, what is your obsession with Spider-Man?
He's a menace. That's what my obsession is. Do you see him? He comes through, then thinking he's the neighborhood Spider-Man. He's not in my neighborhood. I didn't ask for him.
Are you sure? I'm pretty sure he's helped you a lot. You still slander his name all over.
It's not slander if it's true.
No, it's slander.
Show me the proof.
Same thing, show me the proof.
I am the proof. Well, this has been Fake News. Scott, Jen, tell the people where they can find you.
He left. You can find me at your local Starbucks.
Tune in next time while we invite Spider-Man on the show to figure out why he snatched a purse from an old woman at the bus stop. I've been J. Jonah Jameson. This has been Fake News. Well, that was fun. This is the out of character portion of the podcast. And so now we're going to talk to Scott and Jen on a more personal level as the writers. You guys know Scott, Gucci Shades, best known for his group The Exiled and his stories New Genesis. Whereas Jen, you also known her as Super Smash, but originally known as Gamazon, who's truly been known for ripping through your storylines, literally. So, how you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Oh,
and
I guess I
also,
should.
I'm that Storm too in Scott's team.
Oh, nice. I guess I should probably introduce myself as well. As you guys know, I am Triple J Jonah Jameson, but I've also been known as Ghost Recon, Punisher, and quite a few other characters. I've been around for a long time. So, yeah, I guess this is the part where we just talk about what it's like to be in roleplay. We've been all in for roleplay for, I don't know, 10 plus years now. So it's been quite a ride through the comic verse and other verses. You dying over there?
Still here.
I know, right? It's difficult. So what's kind of give us a bit of, I guess, give the listeners a bit of your background. We'll start with you, Scott. Where did you come from in roleplay, and where are you at now?
Started back on MySpace. That was in the weird nexus of roleplay in regards to anime.
Oh gosh.
It was like Naruto meets Pokemon meets elite hentai, but not really.
Oh my.
Hold on.
Well, it looks like he was taken.
Yeah.
Jen, what about you?
Oof. Okay, so yeah, I came from MySpace too. On the opposite side of Scott, I was not messing around with that. I came from the Twilight verse. I would have to say Twilight verse was the first beginning verse I started.
Like Twilight, like as in like vampires?
Yeah, that book Twilight, with the vampire Bella and all that. Yeah,
why?
I know. Look, it was my first stepping into roleplay. I know some of you are who listen are, probably remember, but yeah, I was one of them. I was one of the characters. I was playing Esme, the mother. So that was me for a while, and then X-Men. My first run in X-Men. There used to be this group that I used to run with this other girl. We were a mutant high. So basically, we were just high school X-Men characters. And so I was Rogue. And that was the beginning where everything started Rogue. And then, when did Iron Man 2 come out?
Oh, gosh. What was it? 2010 or something?
2010.
Maybe?
Wow, correct. 2010. You're
Hey,
Triple J. So, back
And
in Iron
yesterday
Man
was
2, before
actually
Iron
the
Man 2 came
anniversary
out.
for Iron Man 2.
you said what?
Yesterday was actually the anniversary for Iron Man 2 because it came out May 7th, 2010.
Oh, damn. Yeah, so,
Movie was trash anyway.
yeah. But before Iron Man 2 came out, that's when I picked up, Black Widow. And that was and I was Black Widow. And that's where it all started. I bumped into a lot of people, ran into a lot of people. By the way, I'm opening up a petition not petition. Anybody who got, harassed by Crimson Comedian.
Crimson Comedian, Sardonic, what was it? Sardonic Speedster, Dark Valor.
Dark Valor, yeah. Especially, yeah. The Dark Valor, and then, what's his Doom?
Oh, I don't know. Was it Infamous?
Yeah. And then I'll keep going. I mean, I can keep going.
Yeah, the list can keep going.
The list
Skyline.
can keep going.
Just
Yeah.
beat him up,
So,
essentially.
if you ever got harassed, especially by the old time Crimson Comedian times when it used to grind his gears and he was posting on bulletins, please come seek me out. We are offering benefits for those people who were affected by
Reparations.
reparations for
Yo, I
when,
wasn't
you
even
were
in the
attacked by-
verse. I wasn't even in comic verse during that time. And this man, I used to just catch whiffs of bulletins, just him obliterating people, just, just straight full on decimation. I was like, oh no!
Yeah, no, it was but nothing was worse than the time that he let the whole A team, or how we were called, we were the almighty assholes, when we messed up and didn't post our replies right after his posts. He went away for the weekend, comes back, and he gave us all new buttholes because he just ripped us a new one. Because we failed him on the most easiest task. So, yeah. So that's how old, I guess it's not proud. I guess it doesn't sound proud. Like, it's been on for a long time. Like, you do have your breaks here and there, but there's a saying, never leave comic first. You never leave role.
You never end up really truly leaving roleplay. Like, no. I mean, I don't know how many times I've freaking quit and come back. Like, this is what? Time 200? And this time I'm not even truly writing. I'm just trying to find a different outlet. I feel like that's what us old veterans need to do. Is just when it comes down to the point where we're just like, bro, I don't want to write anymore. We just come around and just chat and reminisce on the old times.
I don't want to write anymore. I think at this point it's kind of more of like, I did the BS already. I played around. I bantered on the stream. I made friends. I made enemies. We all have. There's every time they're like, "Oh, new to a verse." You ain't new because there's nobody who's new.
Ain't nobody new to freaking comic verse. Ain't nobody ever new to comic verse. If you say new, you a liar.
You're a liar. And you just can't. You dropped everybody and you came in on your own.
Yeah. You trying to go around incognitus.
And it can be done because I've done it multiple times. I've hidden it in front of my friends. I've come in, made new groups of friends. Yeah, I've done it all. And then the same thing. They're like, oh well, nobody wants to write with me. No, I came from like zero and made myself known out there. So it's like it really.
Yeah, man.
You really have to just know how to approach people, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying
it's all networking in all honesty. Like, I mean, it truly just takes like networking skills.
You gotta know how to hit up.
So yeah, I mean, like, so like even my background, like I came from, I think everybody came from MySpace for the most part. I was in video game verse, I think, as Dante from Devil May Cry. I think that's my first setup. And then when MySpace died, I came in site model as OC Spider-Man, and then took
One World.
Who?
One World? It was before Site Model.
So I heard about One World, and I think I tried it for like half a day and was like, nah, dog, I'm out. It's like, I vaguely remember. That was like back in 2009.
That's what I'm saying. After MySpace, it was that One World. Everybody was trying to go to One World.
Everybody was trying to go to One World, and then One World, like, was just absolute hot garbage.
Oh my God, it was. And then somebody was like, real player, or Site Model.
Site Model, yeah.
And then we did our third migration to role player.
Right.
And then Annie, because then everybody went to Annie, and then everybody went to role player.
You said what, Scott?
Never heard of
One World? Yeah, bro.
It was bad. I faded out and took several hiatuses over the years, and I came back to I guess to write. I was on a Site Model for about 4 months and they shut it down. I came in and I saw like a bunch of people and I was like, oh, who's this? And then gone, and I didn't find Role Player until like 2015. I was gone I was gone for many years until I stumbled upon Role Player, but I want to say that was 2014, 2015 when I officially came back. And
yeah, because I think I met you back in like 2014-ish. I think it was about 2014 when you came in. Yeah, it's been like, I mean, we've got a long, colorful history of roleplay, and it's just, honestly, it's been a trip. So now, like, jumping towards, what year is it now? 2020. We see comic verse has just become I don't know. For me personally, I think it's a shell of what it used to be. We've seen a lot of transitions into how stories are made, one-on-one stories. It's honestly just, it's different now. It's a different environment. It's still a different dynamic. Like in-character talk, the status stream, photo comments, stories. It's such a different environment now. I almost don't recognize it. And I think that's where you've seen me come back here and there, get a few storylines, and then bounce again.
I think the last kind of like big raw me or last string of characters I had that were really prominent in comic verse because I effort. Now I just don't care anymore. But these were recent. It was high key, low key, Loki.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot you that high key, low key Loki that everybody was sitting out here buck wilding over. You posted that doggone that post in whatever storyline it was where you had some fairy chick or whatever like having her legs quiver. Bro, the status stream was blown. They're like, oh my gosh, who is this Loki?
It was mad dope. Essentially, it was where we had a story called Tale of the Four Kingdoms, and it was based on fables and.
The one I did with.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so, I essentially had Loki be the Maleficent of that story, and when I came to actually fight, everyone thought I was being. Everyone thought I wasn't serious, and then when I posted with the actual army of Dark Lords and evil pigeons, everyone left. So,
yo, real talk. I didn't realize Maleficent was out here having girls having their legs quake and can't breathe, bro. You had the status stream blown up. I ain't seen people bug the fudge out like that since Sister Mary Augustine, who was in the Smut Olympics, bro. Miss Sister Mary Augustine out here spitting in buttholes and shiz, bro. I was like, what?
And it was a wild time, but it was fun though.
Yeah. That was when I think I was Frank at that time.
Roleplay is one of those things where it's like I don't regret doing it. I wish things would finish. That's why I'm so serious about the X-Men now. And regardless of what happens, if people fade in or fade out or not, I just want to at least finish a big group storyline. That's what we're
big group storylines. I mean, like we used to have like I remember when there was just group storyline after group storyline where this stuff was just like just everywhere. Like there's some of the biggest and greatest group storylines. There was like Battle of JSA Brownstone. Battle of LA. Like Battle of LA was probably one of the most iconic, destructive things I have ever seen in my life. For those who weren't around for Battle of LA, right?
Also in that time it was we call it Battle of Metropolis. That one.
That was the Battle of Metropolis. So we're gonna talk about both of those battles. So there's three different big, huge, like conglomerate battles. We had Battle of the JSA Brownstone, which was the JSA versus the Injustice League. I think it was I was Black Mask in that. There was Rancor. We had a Black Adam. You said what?
You dodged that flashlight.
yeah. So there was it was crazy, right? So we were going against the Injustice League was going against the JSA, which had like Jesse Quick, Power Girl, The Question, Cyborg, just a bunch of characters. And Rancor came up in here just straight up like World War Z style. Black Mask was coming in with a sniper rifle from like 50 yards away, just taking people out. And at one point there was we had Walter West, which was he was an alternate universe Flash, like straight up evil. And this dude came in and bodied somebody, just straight up like taking dudes out. And so Black Mask, he's sitting on a building. He shot Connor, the Green Arrow. I don't remember which one that one was. Took him out. And then The Question was all like, hey, somebody's up there. So I was like, oh, shiz, I got to get out of here. So I start running out and the Question caught up with me, right? And I'm like, oh, no. He said, I'm about to take you out. And he had this titanium flashlight and chucked it at Black Mask. But Black Mask is a villain. So he picked up like a 6-year-old child and shielded himself
and smash that and let that smash like flat and hit that child in the face. Knock that kid clean out. And he dropped him and ran. The question didn't even chase after him. He was like mortified that he had just hurt this child and been the cause of it. And then in that same breath, Black Mask he steals, I think somebody had shown up in a jet or something like that. And he showed up in a helicopter. He had like put on a mask or whatever, or a suit, gets in the helicopter, takes all those guys out, and then jumps out the helicopter, flies out like straight up skydiving, touches hands with Black Mask, and gives it, or not Black Mask, but Black Adam, gets his superpowers, yells Shazam. Then it gets stupid. So now Black Mask has Shazam powers. He goes over to Cyborg, holds him up as Jesse Quick starts like throwing a bunch of glass in, and Cyborg's like, so he's now getting hit by the glass, and then I rip Cyborg in half and throw him and just scatter him out. The JSA Brownstone was just getting dogged. It was bad. It was real bad.
No, yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
Oh man. Then there was the infamous Battle of LA, which, fun fact, was another Injustice League. And that one was, what was it? Zoom. It was Superwoman, I want to say. There was Owlman. There was me as Deathstroke. Jen, were you in that one?
I don't remember. Like, I remember it because I remember the infamous CH move.
Right. This, for those who don't know about the infamous move done by CH, as his Wolverine, he had taken a Quinjet and at first 9/11 the building, and then we let him rewrite it because I didn't think he meant to 9/11 the building, but because he did, we're like, all right, man, you can go ahead and rewrite that. So he rewrote it, and Deathstroke was on. He was there. So the whole story was they were supposed to be robbing a bank. Deathstroke is like on one of the top floors. He's like on floor 23 or 24, and Wolverine shows up on floor 23 thinking he attacked Deathstroke, but he messed up in the post. And so, of course, I as Deathstroke, I look at my partners and was like, bro, we just gonna steal this jet. So we stole the jet and stormed out.
He missed the floor. He
missed the floor. He hit the wrong floor. We were on the floor above him. And yo, CH, if you out there, bro, if you listening to this, all due respect, fam, but I had to steal that jet, dog. It wasn't gonna happen. Like we let you rewrite the one time. We wasn't doing it again. I was stealing that jet, bro.
That's the thing, though. Like, you have those moments back then, and at the time it was kind of annoying, but now you can sit back and laugh.
Oh, absolutely.
But at the time you were furious because you're like, what are you doing? I mean, not just in general. Not just in general, the CH's post, just in general for a lot of things where you're just like,
right.
You're like,
well, we all mess up. We've all messed up in post before. Like, I remember there was the time that there was a fight tournament and I messed up and read the post wrong. Bruh, I got bodied, just straight up dogged out. Like,
I don't think I've ever like messed up a post. I've ruined a couple storylines.
I think we've all done that.
I mean, I think, and that's where I mean, those who remember, it's like I was Gamazon, the one who was with Thor. What's his Lord of Lightning? Yeah,
Lord of Lightning. That was his name.
Lord of Lightning. Yeah. So I was that Gamazon, and I was the one who literally ripped through the group page when I believe it was Tony S.I. I was in this team, and we were trying to rescue War Machine from Red Skull. And I'm telling you, it was like the best thing. And and everybody's like, okay, how are we gonna go in? How are we gonna in? And I was like, can I walk in with the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man? And I mean, at this point, I think they just kind of like, yeah, you could do whatever you want, Jen, because you're crazy. And I was like, all right, cool. You know, if I can do this, I'm gonna do it. So lo and behold, I take this Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and Jen's on top of his shoulder. We're walking, and I think Red Skull was with Madeline Pryor. That Red Skull, I think, was paired with Madeline Pryor. And she ended up commanding or like making I guess a spell or something, or what do you call it, a portal, and transported Jen and the Stay Puft Marshmallow to Washington and to Washington D.C. because we were going to Antarctica, and so then we end up like, I guess I have the Stay Puft crash into a corner of the White House because Jen's like, oh shit, you know, this was going on. And then I had to figure out, I'm like, great, I'm in all the way Washington, D.C. How am I going to make it back to Antarctica and go help my team out to go rescue War Machine? And well, if, for those who've never read She-Hulk comics, especially the older comics, she used to rip through comic pages. She used to manipulate comic pages, yell at the artist, yell at the, talk to the reader. So she used to do a lot of that. And I loved it. It was great. It was like it was pre-Deadpool, before Deadpool became what Deadpool is now. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do this. And I took a screenshot of the group page. I took a screenshot of the post. And basically me in Photoshop for like hours trying to make my character run through the group page, through the post, and get back to Antarctica that way.
Now, do you still have those pictures anywhere?
You know what? It's in PhotoBucket, and at this point, I don't even remember what PhotoBucket account I used.
If you can find those pictures, when I go put this in post, it's gonna come in the form of a YouTube video. If you can find those, I will put those in there so somebody can see it. Because you guys, so to understand, what it looks like when you tear like a page, like a piece of paper, and so
I have the images that I used.
Yeah.
Not the actual post,
oh, okay.
Like the no, I mean, I can show which comic pages I used, but not the actual post. No.
Yeah, man, that was some really truly creative work. Like it was insane how, like, imagine you just accidentally tore a hole into your comic book. But what it is that She-Hulk is grabbing onto the torn piece of paper, so and it's being pulled back, and underneath it is the group thread. Like it was freaking dope, like without question. I don't think we could get away with something like that today. I think
you can do that now, though.
I think somebody been like, "What the?"
At this point, they would be like, no.
At this point, what will probably happen to you is there'll probably be a Discord dedicated to you. And
there isn't one already.
Yeah, like at this point, you're gonna have a Discord dedicated to you, and you're probably gonna have like what little stories that are there now. Try to swipe it from under you, or at least just talk crap about you behind your back for the next decade. Never know.
Yeah.
You can't comic roleplay without having somebody talk about you. I think that's that.
I think you haven't made it in roleplay if somebody's not talking about you in some capacity. I think that if you are able to fly under the radar for that long and nobody say, "Man, yo, F this dude," then I don't think you're doing it.
That's the thing. I think at this point, I mean, I think I've done more where I think I've had more people be upset at me now than before, but that's because I did fly under the radar.
Right,
I think
yeah.
I think a lot of it is a fact that since I changed my, at the time, AOL, I changed my aim a lot. I changed my profile a lot.
That's also because, like, the way it is now, people don't have as thick skin as they did back then. This is a new, different crowd. This isn't the same group of people that may have been skin and writing stuff like that and rolling with the punches back on MySpace site model days. This is a new group of people. We, as I wouldn't even use the term veterans, elitist, but
I think it's a different dynamic now, and so where it's and it's not necessarily, I won't say it's bad, but it's different, and sometimes it feels limiting. But I
think I've heard the overlords of the comic verse. That's what they're calling OGs. The overlords.
Oh, is that what they call the OGs?
Yeah.
I think where there's those negatives, there are those positives in the verse now. Where, like, example, like I've never had it where I can get so many deep connections with certain players, like photo comments. Like photo comments, we used to just kind of like, make jokes on the photo comments, but I for sure have used photo comments as another outlet to just, instead of writing just standard comments, to build stories within those. Like I think I did that with you at one point in time, back in the day when I rolled as Constantine, #Jesus Walks.
Yeah, you try to get into my pants.
Oh, hold on. Wait a second. Listen. Your play-by was fine. All right, look, like.
Or you knew it wasn't even me. So see, that goes down to the fact that
Yeah, because you a freaking Decepticon.
This goes down to the fact that even again, only very few people knew who I was, and he was not one. And I've known this man for 10 plus years. So,
yo, it was good. But see, the thing is that it's like having those connections. Like I did the same thing with Frank Castle. I've done it with Star-Lord. Shout out to my old Spider Woman. She was my OG, man. That girl was big dope. Big dope. I
remember her display name.
Jess was fire, fam. Like easy.
No,
roleplay partners are rare, and shout out to those people who had their roleplay partners for a long time.
Yeah, man. Like big ups to any roleplay partners who've just been able to really stick it out, because I mean everybody ends up getting a roleplay partner at some point in time, and there's a conglomerate of reasons why things do work or don't work. But the ones that have that good writing chemistry, that's one of the big things that I think makes such a deep connection. Like I've never understood how people were able to just jump into pairings, and I would love anybody who is interested. I would love to hear the stories of different people's roleplay partners' experiences and how fast people were able to kind of jump in. Because for me, like
from the people I've spoken to about how they go about and doing it, because up until recent, I hadn't paired in years. I actually never paired before officially. I have been in pairings, but some of them were just kind of like, oh, I didn't even realize we were together. Or
I remember that one.
Like half the time I just get kind of dragged, but the few times that I was paired, it was just one of those things where it was either, oh yeah, we're already like established, out of character, we're chilling, might as well, or it was just, what are we doing here kind of thing. But from the people I've spoken to, they just straight up ask, or they just like, and reckless, and people just say okay. A lot of the time people will say, yeah, I want to do it through banter, or I want to have a story that leads to that. Half the time you won't even finish the story that lead up to that. So while you probably got one post and the other person is currently quote unquote writing, or they got a post, they do the on the way post, they're not there yet but they're coming kind of thing. And that betwixt and between, you're discussing, probably bantering in Discord, maybe in that weird blurred line area kind of thing, and then next thing you know, you're paired off.
I don't think I think I've only ever done that one time, but it wasn't completely like that. So like usually most of my pairings, they've always been story based. There was always this idea of building this character connection where like example, Jin and Star-Lord. Like it started out with, I was getting bored one day and I needed to kind of get into Star-Lord since I'd really never played him, and I was like, all right, well, who's in, basically, like, who am I going to send this comment to? And I saw Jess, one of her pictures. I was like, hey, yo, I'm gonna hit one of these up. So I checked out, I went and found the ugliest photo of Jess. Like it was Jess opening the door with like no bra, like shirt halfway to the side, like there's baby spit up on her and formula, like she was just crusty, bruh. And I was like, this is it. I'm definitely doing this. I'm posting on this. So Peter kind of rolls up and he's just like, you know what? Carol told me to come get you, but you know what? I'll wait downstairs. And I didn't really expect too much of it. And then after that, she responded, continuing from that point, and kind of was like, yo, you're kind of rude just walking up to somebody's house like that. Yeah. And so from there, though, we end up like building up these stories in between our photo comments that blossomed into something just super, super freaking dope. And so like that's usually how I've always done it. But I think the one time I ever like did a weird pairing was when I was Black Bolt. I remember, what was my name as Black Bolt? Mistborn? I think that was my name was Mistborn.
Yeah, Mistborn.
Yeah. I know Tony. I know there's Tony's Tony Stark I was chilling with, and there was a Superman who was out there peeping my stuff, and I'm sure one of them or both of them was gonna be big mad because they was like, hey, I was reading your stuff, what happened to it? But as Black Bolt, he was married to Medusa, right? But then I somehow ended up with 3 different wives,
It was Tony. So it was female Tony. It was a female Tony Stark, and her name was like Fe something. And then he was also married to he was also married to a Scarlet Witch. And then I think he ended up having like another wife.
Wait, Scarlet Witch.
Yeah. I don't remember what her name was, to be honest.
You out of your mind?
Listen, look. So
ever mess with a Scarlet Witch? Ever? Don't ever do it. I don't care. You listening? Scarlet Witches. There's only been probably one that's proved to me Scarlet Witches are not crazy, but most of them.
Yeah, seriously, there's only one.
Yeah, we got a running gag in the group where anybody who picks up a Scarlet Witch might be low key crazy because because every Scarlet Witch we've ever seen has been just straight up bonkers. No disrespect to any Scarlet Witch, but low key, we've seen nothing but crazy crap.
We've been there, we've seen it.
We've seen it.
There haven't been many to
prove us wrong. We've been right.
I know we probably gonna get I'm gonna get a bunch of emails on Jonah talking about I'm not crazy. Listen, I'm not saying you particularly are crazy, right? I'm not saying you, right? But we've seen a lot of them over the years, and a lot of them Scarlet Witches have been like cuckoo for cocoa.
I'm gonna say you are crazy. You pick up Scarlet Witch.
If you're messaging JJJ saying you're not crazy, you're the crazy one.
You might be crazy, just a little bit, but that's all right. That's all right.
If you think you're not the crazy one, then you're just not the crazy one.
Maybe.
There you go.
But yeah,
I like crazy, but I call it like I see it with my Gucci shades on. I'm gonna tell you right now, you're insane. It's impossible, you're not.
We any Scarlet Witch out there, we all say that she about one day away from turning everybody into Legos.
And this is actually your chance. If you want to be on this show and prove that not all Scarlet Witches are crazy, hit up JJJ.
Yeah. Real talk. Any Scarlet Witch out there who's like, nah, y'all got it twisted. I'm not crazy. I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to interview. I'd actually, in all honesty, like to kind of really bring out the point of this podcast. This podcast is really kind of just like connecting with writers on a different level, because over the years, a lot of us have 10 plus years. There's a lot of us who don't really get to speak on a writer to writer level. And we all have our groups and we all have our friends and acquaintances even. But in all honesty, like it's really cool to hear the voices of other writers and other people who have different experiences than a lot of us. And because of that, there's a lot of stories that we don't know, or I personally don't know. Like, I know from my perspective or what I've seen, but I would absolutely love to hear so many different writers come from these different backgrounds. I've reached out to a few of them, and I've got a few that are going to be coming onto the show to talk about subjects like what it's like to be an OC in the comic verse, or what it's like to play a rare character. Because we've seen from our perspectives of what happens, but I would love to hear the stories from others. So if you are interested, this is what I would please just message me or reach out to me. And don't worry, it's not like, oh, we're gonna beat you up or I'm gonna get you. Like it's truthfully just an outlet for us to talk and kind of goof off. And
I think it's a great way to discuss also the whole, like, even when you posted that status in regards to men get harassed as much as the women in roleplay community.
Oh yeah,
I think that was a beginning of a good opening. Not many people were into it, but some people did respond. Some people, right. I thought there were pretty good comments people were making.
Shout out to all the people who responded to that too. Like that's really dope.
I've played multiple characters. I played a Sinestro. I've played Winter Soldier. I've played Scott Lang. So
right. I've
played males, and I think I've been more uncomfortable playing a male than I have playing a female.
Right. And we knew about some of the messages, some of them Lokis that Loki was getting. Loki, man. Loki, yeah. Yo, Loki was out here getting some buck wild messages.
And it's not like and I shared my messages to the group, and they knew what I was getting, and so. I think it's an equal thing. I don't think it's just all male. I just feel like men get targeted here in the roleplay community, and it sucks.
Yeah, for sure.
because a lot of the men that I know are actually pretty great men. Now I know
Right.
that some of you are like, well, I know who you know, and I know I don't want to drop names, and I get it, but
Right.
but I'm like, it's at the end of the day, somebody would say it's all role play, and it's true. At the end of the day, we're all individual people, we're all humans. Um, I know I have my beef with certain people, individuals themselves, and it's just like I may not like you as a person, but doesn't mean that I go look for you. If you just don't care about them, whatever, just
Right.
alone. Just
And I
back
and I
off.
and I actually really think this is a really good part in the community right now, where there's been like a really really low tier level of drama. Like I remember where we would so I remember a couple years back, it would be during the week, Monday through Friday or Monday through Thursday, right? Everything would be kind of chill, things are kind of going almost kind of like a business week, right? But then you get to Friday night and it would be a freaking hellstorm. So by Saturday morning, you're like, yo, what happened? Somebody's like, yo, fam, the freaking entire verse done blown to smithereens. You're like, oh, shit. So you trying to go out there, find every thread and bulletin. Like, and right now, it's really, really cool to see that the community is not toxic and that they really kind of focus on, especially for like, focus on writing and telling stories. And this is for me coming, like, I drop off. I think I haven't been around for almost a year again. And even before that, I was gone for like a year. So it's really cool to see just the different changes and the different environments. I see nowadays that, and I don't know, from my perspective, it's really, I see a lot of people kind of like, well, hey, looking for stories and whatnot. And I would love to hear from other members in the community what it's like for you guys to get stories in this time. I'm not sure if due to the pandemic that's going on right now, if the verse seems pretty scarce, or if people are just in other verses like in Star Wars or Final Fantasy or whatever it is. I don't know. There's a bunch of other verses that are out there.
Or could say that right now, Comic Verse is dead. I think I've heard that.
I've heard that a few times, but I don't know if it's. I wouldn't say it's dead, because when you got people out there like, shout out to Allfather, who's got some stories going on. You got management issues banner.
Management issues, yeah.
Yeah, and Tony SI, I'm sure he's got something going on. He's always got something. So I mean, like, I wouldn't say that the verse is so much dead. I think it's just different, and especially that's also not including how many people are writing in Discord and moving things along that way. So like I said, this is that opportunity for me to be able to speak with other writers and hear other stories that are out there, and what it's like for you guys to get certain stories or play some of these characters. I mean, like, what's it like for a woman to play Black Widow or Batwoman or Batgirl, for that matter? What type of stories are you guys getting? What type of interactions have you guys had? What are your personal stories? And then what tips do you guys have for other members in the community? Like, what do you guys have? What good tips? What top 3 tips do you guys have for members and current members and new members? Like, what tips would you give them?
Tips?
Any?
I mean, it's different now, I mean, I don't know, like, just go with the people who are writing, don't expect to write one-on-ones, because I think at this point one-on-ones are scarce, and I don't think people want to do one-on-ones as much as they're up for groups. And I've always been one, like, I'm not a big 101 person,
right?
But put me in a group, give me a good story that's not a recycled story of a movie or whatever, or
right,
whatever it may be, but just give me something good. Tell me, hey, I think this may interest you, and I would really like for your character to be, show me the summary, and I'll join it. I have no problem doing that. I think at this point, you're more likely if you just join in groups, and I know a lot of people are afraid of groups too, but it's like, you can't, I don't know, I guess you can't expand yourself unless you work with groups, and I think groups is also a great way to see how other people write. I mean, that's
no
one
doubt.
of the big things too. I think it's just like, I think I learned a lot of my writing skills through, aside from the group that I would be with, but it's like, reading other people's groups, seeing how they use their verbiage, see how they constructed a sentence. It's like, I know we're all here because we're writers, I'm not going to sugarcoat that some of people who write are not, still haven't developed their skills over the past 10 years.
Hey, quick PSA. hues are not eyes. I know we've all made that mistake. And there are some people who don't know that. So it's not like I'm bashing you. But I'm letting you know now, right? It's hues are not eyes. So if you want to look up other synonyms for eyes, I would recommend that. But just so that way, anybody who's listening, hues are not eyes. We got to wrap it up real quick. Scott, you got any tips for anybody out there?
Oh, get better, I guess. Get time, read books. Have a story with somebody, just try to finish it. I don't want to say anything further. I don't want to say anything further because I'm just going to start bashing people and get upset. So I'm not going to say anything else. I don't have anything to say as far as advice. I know that sounds rude and crude.
Well, that's real Scott.
I've just been here for so long. I haven't seen that much progress in either certain individuals or how things have gone. And at this point, I'm just going to finish my stuff. If you want to ride along with me and we can get stuff going on, you can definitely help produce what I want to do. I'll work with other people to help produce their stuff. If you're not serious about it, don't talk to me.
Yeah, at this point, just hit up Scott or hit up me. Like, we have a lot of group projects that we want to work on. We call them the one shots.
Hashtag one shot.
Hashtag one shot. Just, if you're thinking of trying to do something, like right now we're trying to do something with space. So just hit us up, or just if you have an idea, just tell us and we'll help you out. At this point, we just want to write.
Right. All right. Well, let's see here. I've got my tips are being check out books. Like, I know it sounds pretty elementary, but there's a lot of growth that I've done as a writer from reading different types of books. Just not as one of my all-time favorite series is the Reckoner series by Brandon Sanderson. It's Steelheart, Firestorm, and Calamity. Those books are matter of fact, anything Brandon Sanderson. Anything Brandon Sanderson is freaking gold. Name of the Wind is another. You said it?
I said anything Brandon Sanderson is gold. It is.
yeah, absolutely. It is definitely gold. Just make sure you guys are reading books. Prompts. Find prompts. And one of my favorite things to do is search Reddit or Tumblr, but I think Reddit has some of the most creative prompts that I've seen. I know I did one as Luke Cage at one point where I think I had to Luke Cage. I think I had to do one where Luke had to use all of the gods. That was the post, right? The post was use all Greek gods in a post, and I did it as Luke Cage, and it was super fun. So, and if you do prompts, like if you do prompts that you sign up for the ones that people are like, hey, I would like this prompt. If they write them, try to do your best to respond back to it, because that's kind of one of the big things I think we all have is just like when you write something up and the person goes ghost. I think we've all had that problem. And if you are if you're not feeling that profile anymore, just kind of give that person a heads up, so then that way you don't feel ghosted. And I think my last tip is don't forget to have fun. I mean, I think we all get competitive, or we all get a certain way. Like when you're passionate, I know like it comes to me when I'm writing or playing video games or just working out in general. Like if I'm a competitive type person, so I always try to push myself to be better than not only the next guy but myself. And so always it's writing is like working any other muscle in your body. It's something that you have to train and adapt and develop. And it's good. It's a great outlet. So I think those are my tips.
I'd just like to do a shout out to Skyfox, my girl. Yeah, I just her. I want to give her a shout out. And that's also to my people.
Right on. All right, Scott, where can they find you?
Oh, right now I have
at the dumpster out back.
Are you talking about?
Just anything you want to shout out real quick. We got a few seconds left.
No, I'll find you if I want to write with you.
Bet. Jen?
You know where to find me. In Sam's bed.
Hey. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining the Fake News Podcast. It's been super dope talking to you guys. If anyone's interested in joining the podcast and we can just chat and talk about topics, hit me up on Triple J. Thanks for listening. See you guys later. Deuces.
Laters.
Peace.